Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here, and what I've got tonight are a pair of Fortress Interlocks. These are industrial safety lockout devices. They're basically disc detainer locks. They look very much like a giant Tibby lock, the kind of thing you find on Ford Transits or old Ford Jaguars. The Tibby locks are now out of service, but these are still very much in use. Just to give you an idea of scale, this is a Tibby key. Look at the size of that. That is a monster. They are 7-disc locks. There's actually 8 discs in here, but one of them is non-rotating. I'll explain that in a little bit. I think these are very tough locks to pick. I have heard it said that they are extremely easy. That's not my experience with these. They're very similar in picking experience, I think, to an Abus Plus 88, in as much that they don't give any feedback until the discs start getting aligned, and you start to sort of feel the disc gates go over the sidebar, but that can take quite a while to get to. And the reason they don't give very good feedback is there is a really powerful spring at the top of the lock which compresses the disc pack, and that really saps the feedback. So the discs aren't free rotating. They're very stiff. They're smooth, but they're not free to move. You have to really put some reasonable force on them to move them. Also, the zero cut discs in these locks don't settle on zero, much like the butterfly discs in an Abus Plus. The discs, when you zero them out, extend past zero to sort of like a -1 position, and I'll show that when I gut the lock. Normally, you can't gut these. They're sealed with roll pins, but after I'd picked this one, I drilled the roll pins out. I've replaced them with a couple of bars, so we can now take this apart and have a good look inside. There is no commercially available tool that will pick one of these locks. You've got to make one. So I've come up with this. It's a 4mm stainless shaft with a 6mm outer with a 1mm wall thickness. It's very, very smooth. And the reason it's very, very smooth is I didn't want it to cause any friction and sap further feedback. Tensioning off of one of the zero cut discs would have been a problem. I'd have had to have done a manual counter rotation to pop the lock, which adds, I think, some complexity to an already hard lock. But this one does have one advantage. I mentioned an 8/8 disc. That 8th disc is right at the bottom of the lock. Again, I'll show that, and it's locked in place. And you can tension off of that disc. It doesn't move, and that tensions the entire cup that the discs are sitting in against the body of a lock. And that actually makes life a little bit easier. But it is, you've got to rip tension off of the rear and then pick all the discs going up and down. I've picked these. I've done 3 picks of these now. Each time it's the same time. It's about 15 or 16 minutes to actually get these open, which is why I think they're quite a hard lock. It can take a while before you start getting feedback. There are a couple of tips and tricks you can do to make things a little bit quicker, and certainly I think I could probably improve my time with a bit of practice, but I found that if you angle the pick in the lock, then that drives the discs onto the sidebar a little better, and that gives you some more feedback. Not a great deal. I mean, you're improving from nothing to something vague, but it is the only way I've managed to get these open. So I'd be interested to see others and see how they get on. I saw a video by Bosnia Bill. He picked one. He seemed to have absolutely no trouble with it, and it picked open an absolute treat in, I think, a minute or 2. And I expect that there are more than one version of this lock out there. That's all I can assume, because these do not give clicky and obvious feedback until very, very late in the pick. So I do apologize. There is a very long picking segment coming up at the end of this video. By all means, jump ahead to the bit where I get them open, or get this one open. I don't attempt this one on video. But these are the same lock. This bitting, and the bitting is written on the key. So that's the first disc. is a 0. It's the same key for both locks. They're a matched pair. And they, like I said, they pick in exactly the same way. So I thought what we'd do is we'll gut the lock and have a look inside it, and then we'll get on with the picking bit. So this is going to be a long video, and I apologise for that, but I put a lot of work into making the tool and getting this picked. So I'm going to get the distance out of it, as it were. So just pull those pins out, and we'll zoom in. So you got this top plate. We'll just lift that off, and you can see where the roll pins would normally go in. It's actually a blind hole, so you just drill them out, and what happens is the bit catches the tip of the roll pin, and you can just pull that out. They pop out without causing any damage at all, which works well. If we look inside the front here, and this is like a cavernous lock, absolutely huge. So what we've got, that's the spring. Right at the top here, this is the thing that compresses the disc pack, and what I must do actually is make a simple spacer without the spring tension and see if this is an easy pick. I may do that for another video actually. I really want to know if that's the thing that's actually destroying the feedback. I strongly suspect it is. Let's move these into frames so we can get stuff, and I'll move the camera over so we can see the discs when they're all out. So we've then got a spacer. I'll move this. Actually, go orient that way up. What I've done on the inside here, I've drawn the blue pen mark. That's the 0 position effectively. So if I put the key in, hopefully we can do this without losing focus. Tell you what, let's see if I can bring the camera up a little bit. Give me a bit more distance. We may, yeah, no. Come on, focus for me. Maybe I'll focus. If I turn it, you can see that the blue dot lines up with the lug, and the whole disc pack turns. Not the best focus in the world. But if I take the key out, we will get the focus back at that point. If I then pull the disc around to its maximum rotation, so let's say you're going to 0 the pack out, notice how the 0 position pulls past the end stop. So basically this goes to like a -1 position, which makes tensioning off of discs quite a bit harder. You do have one advantage of these locks, which is this lug at the end. That's the bit that goes, that square bit at the end is what goes into the tensioning disc right at the end of the pack. So that's the bit you need to tension off of, which is where this comes in. I'll show this in operation as I get the discs removed. I didn't know what height to set the tensioning plate at. So what I did is got a nice flat end, and I just kept adding magnets until I got the right depth. That turns out that's exactly the right depth for it to sit on that tensioning disc. Works a treat. So let's pull the rest of these out. There are a couple of other things to note about the insides of this. So that's your 0. We've got another spacer. So the next disc down, you'll notice it's got some serrations on it. Those are not false gates. Those are the cut of the disc. There are only 4 cuts on the discs in this lock, and if we go to the key, we see that first disc is a 0 cut, the second disc is a 4, and there's our 4 notches. The next one out of the lock will be a 3, and that will have 3 notches. So let's see if that's entirely true. There you go, 3 notches. So these are just to help assembly, I think, those notches. Just pull the rest of these out quickly. The beauty of a lock this size is it's a doddle to pull apart. That's another 0 cut. I mark that one up too, and that one behaves in exactly the same way as the other 0 cut. They extend past the 0 position. The tolerances in this lock are great as well. The fit of everything is superb. Right, so the last disc, that's the tensioning disc, and it's locked in place by those two by that groove there. But see if we can show the pick on that. Pull the picking tip out of the way. Come and focus down in the hole. You can see that catching on the plate. Okay, it's coming right off. Oh, of course, the disc is turning. But you can see that's how it tensions in the bottom. And I'll show that working. So we pull this out. So this can't turn. It's locked, like I say, it's locked in place by that lug. Now, the cup that everything sits in. I'll just take our sidebar out. Regular looking sidebar. The fit of this is incredible. It's so snug in here. You've actually got to hook it out and give it a bit of force. Just use let's turn it around so I can get to it. If I put that in the sidebar slot and give it a good yank, it should come out. There you go. It's really tight. There you go. And everything, that's the cam at the base that drives this. So it's a traditional disc detainer. It just gives terrible feedback, and I think again due to that spring. So just I'll give a close up of these discs, and then we'll switch to the picking vid because we're already at 12 minutes. So this is certainly turning into quite a long video. Right, so up now, the picking vid, and enjoy. See you shortly. Oh, just quickly, I just realised that I didn't actually show a lock in operation or how to identify that it's been opened. And so when you see the picking video, I want you to know I've actually opened it. If you look on the back here, you can see this plate. And if you turn the key, that's how you know it's open. That cam turns and the plate drops. It's not entirely obvious, that's all. So that's the operation. Very simple. Okay, on with the picking video. Okay, let's go for the open. And I apologise for the angle, but it's the best position to sort of give me space to work the pick and not catch the camera. So that's unlocked. Let's now lock back up. And we'll put the tensioner right in at the back. And I'll start on the front discs. Disc 1 is 0. Little click. Another little click. Four is a 0. It's not giving me much. I've got to click, just push the disc into the sidebar. Might seem to improve things, so I'll leave that there. Got to click out of that one. We're on 7. I think that was a click. Right, I'll work my way back up the lock again. I'll put that 7 back. I'm going to go back. 4 is a 0, but it's not quite at maximum travel, so I just want to check. think that's good. Right. Little click. Right. Go all the way back down to the front and give another pass. That was very encouraging. That's 4. Oh, lovely click. That's 3. Right, we're getting some good movement on the core now. And by good, I mean some. Oh, yeah. This is all sounding very promising. Right, go right back to the front, work the discs through. I'm kind of hoping that this pass will give us an open. Yeah, nice click and core movement. We just come off. That was core movement. This is 4. That's definitely a gate. That's a gate. And we are open. Oh my word, 16 minutes. What a monster. Hands are killing me. Right, let's show this. Hopefully you can see the cam moving. Just gonna so that's open. Quite the battle, but I could not be happier. Not bad for a homemade pick, working blind with very little information. So yeah, cool lock. Don't get to see too many of those picked, and I am just delighted. All right, that's it for tonight. Sorry for the long video, but you know, it's not every day you get to see a Fortress Interlock picked. Nice.